minute. Let me get my bottle. Stop it. How y'all doing?
Get it.
Oh, wait a minute. What? Girl, why was I about to pop the bottle and it's a twist off? Jesus, fix it.
Fix it. You put sipping on.
You know what? That's how you know. That's how you know you're doing the absolute most this week, sis. Even before we even get started.
Let me find out. Is that the peach prosecco?
Right. So this is what I had to surprise y'all. First of all, happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
So I didn't want to say it until we got live because why do I had a perfectly unopened bottle from my birthday that you bought me, Nick, in my fridge.
Yes.
I am having some birthday bubbly today, honey.
Oh, honey, but
come on, Trader Joe's. We classy.
Honey, you can't really beat that little $6 bottle of peach prosecco.
You really can't.
You just, honey, you can't beat it.
What's going
on, guys? What'd you say, Carrie?
What's happening, family?
What is happening? Hey, Vonette.
Is born.
Yes, it is, girl. It is the peach Bellini, honey. Yes. Hey, Vonette. What's up, girl? Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
What's up, Vonette? Coming to the space. Coming to the space.
Yes.
Happy Friday. We're here. We made it.
Yes,
we made
it.
We made it.
Hey, Colby.
Did we not?
What's up, Colby?
Jesus.
Child.
I can never start a watch party, Nick. Why?
How is y'all?
It is like, you know what? Facebook, if you're listening, please make this more like
easier. Because we listen. We're not technologically savvy, okay? We cute, we talented, we fierce, we fabulous. But technology is not our strong suit.
Oh, gosh.
We need a producer or somebody.
It's coming.
They coming. Right?
Exactly.
And if y'all want to produce, if you're there and you want to produce, hit us up.
Hit us up.
Let's collaborate.
Absolutely.
Hi, Eva.
Hey, Eva. Hey, Camille.
Hey, Camille. People.
I hope y'all are having a great Friday.
Yes. I know y'all anticipating the dope guests we have today. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Super excited to have them in the building, in the school, building, the virtual building.
Right. Kind of the building. It's kind of my building.
Yes, it's the building.
I own this building.
Oh, man.
What y'all sipping on?
I have a little Long Island iced tea tonight. It's
okay.
Been one of those.
Yeah, Long Island iced tea.
Only do it, Jesus.
You
said lightweight lit. Did you say lightweight lit?
I said a little bit lit, but it might end up being like full weight lit. So
I'm here for it either way, sis. We need all the release and the joy, whatever we can get these days. I hope y'all are sipping on something too. Listen, what y'all sipping on? Put it down in the comments, honey, because we need all the blood and people of color joy tonight.
All of it. What's up, Janet? Thank you for being here.
Yes. Hey, Janet. We did make it through another week. We did make
Bless
it through
all the gods. Yes, we did. Bless his name.
Word. But we are back for another episode. What are you gonna scare?
I was saying we did some phenomenal stuff today.
We absolutely did. And I'm excited to tell you guys about it. So this morning, the three of us had the amazing opportunity to be on a really amazing platform called Creative Mornings. And we did the Denver chapter called Creative Mornings Denver. And we were able to go on a Zoom with a bunch of dope people and talk about what being radical means to us. And it was just a beautiful conversation. Shout out to Tom Harrison for inviting us into the space. And Dave, everybody from the team who made it happen. It was a beautiful conversation. There will be a replay coming in about a month and a half. So we'll definitely be posting that once it comes out. But we had an amazing conversation and just feeling very grateful today for where our little podcast is going. And we are soaring and growing and very, very grateful to each of you who tune in every week to hear us talk mess, talk, politics, family, friends, all the mess, and then be able to listen to these really amazing women that we bring into the space. So thank y'all. Give yourselves a pat on the back. And we really appreciate y'all for being here.
Yes.
With that said, Carrie, you want to talk about some new stuff?
I do. Like Mo said, our founder, our visionary, like she said, we make it move.
That's right.
We are here, and we just started a Patreon page, y'all. If y'all don't know what Patreon is, it is an opportunity for you to subscribe monthly to support us, right? And there are different perks that come with a certain amount that you might spend each month. So we're going to go ahead and drop it in the comments here, patreon.com/the Sip Podcast. And please be sure to come through and support. We're looking for at least 5 patrons a month, or excuse me, a week. Let me correct that. A week. And I want to give a shout out to our very first patron, since we just announced today. Our very first patron is Jen Neese. Big shout out to you, love. Thank you so much for being a sipper.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sis. We appreciate you, Jen.
Absolutely. So y'all get to that Patreon page, become a sipper, find out what perks there are, and just become even a bigger part of our sister circle. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And thank you.
And if y'all if you guys had a chance, I think you mentioned it, Neek, but we in preparation for this morning's talk, we made a beautiful video. And I just want to shout out Dre Spencer. Andre, thank you so much. He produced it, edited it for us in 2 days. This man worked a natural miracle, y'all, for us to be able to present ourselves for this talk, and also for you all to see some clips of our favorite past episodes. So please go on our SIP page or on our Instagram page and see our new media. And we also want to just give a shout out as well to photographer Ryan Landell for our newest photos. Listen, y'all, we are doing big. We are leveling up. So we just appreciate y'all being on the journey with us. This is so exciting, and I'm inspired by my sisters. I'm inspired, y'all. So I love y'all.
Every day. Love you too, sis.
We love you too, sis.
Yeah.
Now let's get into this. Let's get into this. If you guys missed our last episode 2 weeks ago, we did a read to America. So if you are watching and you missed that, I would highly suggest you go back sometime this weekend and rewatch that. It is a lot going on in the world. None of us have to really say that because we're all living it.
Amen.
But we got a BA in this week, y'all. We got a BA.
Put a BA in.
Come on, Jesus. They gotta be one. They always gotta be one.
I want everybody watching, because at this point, y'all know what a BA in is. Who y'all think my BA in is? I'm gonna give y'all 10 seconds. I'm gonna give y'all 10 seconds. Kobe, Vanessa, Abby, Jen, Eva, Camille, everybody watching. Who y'all think my Bonnet? Who y'all think my BAN is? I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to guess.
Or even who's your BAN? Okay,
who's your BAN?
Where's your BAN?
Okay, because life is real out here. Let it all hang out, y'all. Come on. Somebody said definitely will do. Okay.
Let me know who your BAN is. Okay. The BAN of the week, because it was really hard to choose this week because there's just so many.
So many. That's okay.
And ding, 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 ding.
And Camille guessed it.
Rudy.
You was gonna say that.
Giuliani.
Drippiani. Okay.
I'm done. She said Drippiani.
Talk about him.
Rudy. First of all, let's talk about Rudy going to court, pretending that he still practices law, even though he has not stepped in a courtroom in almost 30 years. And let's talk about the fees that he owes, and he's not even really supposed to be practicing law, and how he goes into said courtroom spouting conspiracy theories with no evidence. Now, I'm not a lawyer and I didn't go to school for law.
Come on now.
But I think I learned enough in middle school social studies that when you go to court, you have to produce evidence.
I mean, just a little bit.
I mean, and we know our justice system is trash.
Correct.
But y'all are the highest of the highest, and you're asking for $20,000 a day from the Trump administration to go into a courtroom spouting that somebody lives on Mars, essentially, is what you're saying.
Listen.
So, Rudy, sir, number one, please stop.
Right.
Go lay down, get COVID, and just, we don't need you. Okay? Number two, make sure, because you know liars sweat. Liars be sweating like a mug. That's when you know somebody lying, because they be sweating.
Just dripping.
Just make sure you don't put the dye in your hair, bruh.
Come on.
You're already 95 years old. Who cares if you got a bald patch?
That 95.
Don't go on national TV sweating and carrying on. And y'all saw the napkin he was wiping. The napkin was all brown. And I was like, abort mission, sir. Abort mission.
Abort.
Exit stage left and go crawl back in the hole that you came out of.
Amen.
It is a complete and utter shit show what is going on in America right now. And at first, some of this shit can be kind of funny, but it's no longer funny. It's really, really disheartening on so many levels. And so, to not give this fool any more time and attention, Rudy Drippiani, you are the BA.
Drippiani.
I'm not going to forget Drippiani for a long, long time. Girl.
Because, sir, I can't take you serious with your hair dye
sliding down your face.
I was so confused. So what was happening.
So confused.
I'm telling y'all, out of all the things that we see in the media right now with politics, I was saying this to y'all in the chat earlier today. I need to know anybody in my age group, and we ain't gonna talk about how old I am right now in the moment, but anybody in my age group, do y'all remember the movie Total Recall? And y'all remember how Schwarzenegger went into the train area and the man said, how long you gonna be there? And he said 2 weeks, and then his face started coming apart and he just came out like a robot. I swear to God, either Giuliani or Conway or one of them is going to be doing a news conference soon, and their face just going to fall apart because they cannot keep this mask on forever. You cannot keep this lie up forever, y'all. At some point, there's got to be, like Nick said, there's got to be some evidence. You got something to say, prove it, sis. There's fraudulent charges, Trump, prove it, sis. Just give me, give it to me, or just walk your happy ass on out the White House. And can we get back to the business of being in our country, because this is just absolutely ridiculous at this point.
It's utter insanity. I told Aaron the other night, you be watching the movies where everybody's doing a hot mess thing, and then they can't keep it up, and they're the one person is still like, but we can fix this, and then the leader is like, it's over, the jig is over, it's over. I wonder if this is gonna happen.
I'm pretty sure that's what it looks like every day.
Every movie. But we can still, and they're like, it's 100%. Over, guys. It's over.
Right.
Is somebody gonna say that?
Right.
Or really, are they going to be pulling everybody out in straight jackets?
No, it's going to be the Titanic. They going down with it. They will follow his ass.
Singing, playing, whatever, cussing people. Yeah, they going to, absolutely. But I said it before and I'll say it again. I am here for seeing Trump leave the White House in a straitjacket. I'm here for
absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Where is the popcorn?
Come on.
Slide his ass out, just kicking and screaming.
Party. Okay, where the watch party at?
Right.
I'm trying to here.
Shoot.
Oh my gosh.
So
I know we acted up, but listen, the way we're gonna celebrate. Listen,
the way we're going to celebrate. My
absolutely. God. But speaking of BANs, I know we also had some sisters in power.
We did.
We do have some sisters in power.
Mm-hmm. Who we on?
But before we go to the sister in power, really quick.
Nick got some more ratchet. Okay. He said not to be too proud.
I know who you're talking about.
Because sometimes it be some women BANs out here, okay?
Preach.
Come on now.
So I'm gonna preface this with this. these sisters have been getting on my nerves for a very long time. And that would be the Campbell sisters, aka Mary.
There could be a whole episode.
It'd be Tina. It usually be Tina.
It
usually be Tina on some BS. I've been done with Tina.
Yeah,
and
Tina
Erica, sometimes Erica be a little, but I had more hopes for Erica. But girl, you disappointed me. So she posted on her Instagram, and I quote, "You."
Go ahead.
It's just laughable. Okay. You can't sow hoe seeds and reap marriage benefits. Your brain and body don't switch like that. You got to prepare your mind for marriage because it's ministry. Okay. Let me read that one more time, just in case it didn't.
Yeah.
You can't sow hoe seeds and reap marriage benefits. Your brain and body don't switch like that. You got to prepare your mind for marriage because it's ministry. Now, where do I start here?
So many issues with that statement.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If we're gonna make comments about someone being a hoe, maybe check your husband at the door.
How about that?
Hey.
How about instead of telling people whatever you feel like they should be doing, how about we say, if your spouse keeps cheating on you, maybe you leave them and get some standards, maybe buy some with all the Mary money that you have.
Listen,
I say this to say she had a kid for her. Oh, you girl, the truth is hard. They don't want to hear that. And then she had a lot of folks like, really, sis? So I want to know your thoughts about these hoe seeds and reaping marriage benefits. What y'all think about the hoe seeds on today?
Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead. Lord Jesus.
It's stressful and it's a mess. You know what I'm saying? I'm confused because I don't know their whole current living situation, but you know for a fact that the person that you married to has stepped out on you how many times? You know what I mean? And in order for you to go ahead and start preaching to other people about them spreading their whole seeds, like, you gotta get your house together, mama. You gotta stop throwing rocks in your glass house. Like, chill out. Chill out. I hope she finds it in her heart to you know, like you said, Mo, like really create those boundaries and protect herself against the insanity that she's living in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It don't make no damn sense. It don't make no damn sense.
It doesn't.
So I need her to get it together, and I need her to recognize like what it is, I guess, that she deserves. Does she know what she deserves? Is this what she deserves? But if that's what you're gonna be with, if that's what you deserve, then you don't need to be talking about nobody else's relationship then. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I don't know, man.
What you got, Raj?
Listen, I think it's problematic when Black women have a big platform and then want to give out pseudo advice to other Black women, especially around marriage. I have big problems with that because anybody who gets married, you have a union. You hopefully, if you're lucky, two best friends come together. Y'all, live your life. Sometimes you have problems in it. Sometimes it's up and down. It is what it is. But I'm so sick of this culture that we have, especially in our communities of color. One, around marriage being like the be all end all. And then two, around this idea that women have to prepare yourself for marriage. I'm so freaking over that shit. I'm sorry. I cannot. In 2020, can we leave preparing for marriage? Can we leave, the single hoops that you jump through to be in a relationship? Because I'm gonna tell you something, sis. Like, at the end of the day, being single is tough, being married is tough. All of it is a challenge. But this whole advice thing, I think everybody is an individual. Every woman is her own fierce individual self. Sis, if you was a hoe and you got married and you want to be a hoe, then be a hoe. If you want to be monogamous, be monogamous. Do you, sis? You know what I mean? Whatever works for you. But I'm just so tired of the judgmental.
The judgment.
And I think it's so unnecessary in this time right now. We got girl. I got more things to worry about than preparing myself for marriage. If I was single right now and I was dating a man, I'd be like, "What's your safety protocols? What's your 6 foot protocol? You know, when you go to the restaurant, where you be sitting at? Like, I ain't trying to talk about no preparing for marriage. I'm trying to see if I can talk with you more than 2 weeks, sis. So
how about that?
More than 2 weeks.
So with the judgmental stuff, how about we just uplift people for the rest of the year? How about you do that?
How about that? And see, that be the thing with these Christians who ain't living this life that they are preaching to folks. Right. Which I'm going to be very brief. But this brings me also to Mr. John Gray, who can forever kiss my natural black ass, sir. He is one of those two peddling. He is one of those two peddling women should be doing with body, and how women should be prim and proper and preparing themselves for the man, but you can't keep your dick in your pants. Okay,
100%.
Did you see the post where he propped his wife up and was talking about her dress and about how he did not deserve her and all this stuff after apparently he cheated again? Okay, now we're not going down this rabbit hole. We're not doing it because we talked about this already.
We're not.
But case in point. Okay, case in point. We got a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about.
No, amen. And I just want to say real quick, Raj, because you said something that I think is super significant. Like, being single is hard, being married is hard, and it's because you still taking you with you. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't resolve whatever it is that you're dealing with, guess what? It's gonna come up in your relationships, all of your relationships.
That's right.
I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Like, help you.
We have some self-work that we need to do. And Sister Tina, I think you got some self-work that you need to do. Maybe you should rest 20 off and work on you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly. It's for everybody.
Amen.
Okay, moving on. Moving on. This is my last little. I just got this piece of breaking news. The ladies don't know this breaking news yet. And Lord forgive me. I'm petty.
You know what?
I'm petty. I'm petty.
I'm afraid. Wait, let me get a sip. Hold on.
Petty. I'm petty. It's not right. I'm not. That's not something I'm always proud of, but it's a fact. So, just so everybody knows, Donald Trump Jr. just tested positive for COVID-19.
You know
And I hate him. I hate him and his brother Eric.
Listen, the earth is reclaiming herself, and I am here for it.
I am here for it now.
What did you say, Kimberly?
I said the earth is reclaiming herself, and I'm here for it. Like, purge out all the evil motherfuckers. Let them go. Let them go.
And do your job this time, Miss Rona. Do your job this time, Miss Rona.
Right.
We're counting
on you. On your paper, Rona. You ain't done it right.
Terrible.
We're terrible. Why everybody laughing? Because y'all know. Good.
Y'all know.
Listen, God don't like ugly. That's all I'm saying. And karma is B-I-T-C-H, honey.
Ultimate EA and all of them. So I thought that was funny. So, you know.
I appreciated that. I appreciated that trifecta of being.
It was a nice little, soul warmer. I'm terrible. I am so trash. Y'all forgive me. I am a good person. I swear I'm a good person. Right? Y'all can vouch for me. I just don't. I can't stand BANs and liars and crazy people. But anyway, that wraps up the hot mess news that we're going to talk about today. And before we bring on our amazing, awesome, dope guests, I just want to highlight some dope Black shit. Okay. Mm-hmm. Number one, Michael B. Jordan with his fine self is people's sexiest man alive. Sorry, babe, but he's fine and he can get it. And congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
Because I see that time my brother got it. Okay.
Word. That's real.
Shout out to Michael B.
Brother
Jordan.
Got it twice. You're forgetting about Idris and you're forgetting about John.
John Legend doesn't count. John Legend does not count.
No, John. Okay, he don't count. But what you're not gonna do is supersede the true sexiest man alive. Okay, I don't care what y'all say about Michael B. Jordan. The mustache irks my life. He's a little too swole, and he looks a little too pretty boy for me.
Great that he's
kind of sexy, I guess. He never done it for me, but
Michael B. Jordan doesn't do it.
The Idris Elba as sexiest man alive, aside from Ryan, the Oliver Landell. Thank you very much.
Listen.
Okay.
He's just all right. I don't like that British accent.
Don't start, because see, we friends. We friends, and I want to stay friends.
First of all, who is number one? First of all,
here we go, Lord.
Who's stunting on all these dudes?
Oh, crusty ass Morris Chestnut.
How dare you? How Krusty and Morris do not go in the same.
Yeah. He ain't got the
I love you, Mo. I love you.
No.
That's my sister right there.
And I love the women's, I do, but I got eyes, I can see. I just don't. He just don't do it. But I respect you.
He don't do it.
And I love if you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying?
No, he too pretty. He too like smooth around the edges. No, you need some grit. It just got some grit, honey. And listen, put it in the comments, y'all. Put it in the comments. Michael B. Jordan or Idris. Let's settle this right now. And you already know who's gonna win. So y'all better act right. No. Put it in the comments right now. Who is your
sexiest man of the year? Y'all better not disappoint.
Who's your sexiest man of the year?
Y'all, you already know. Okay, you already know. What's up? What's up, Tammy? What's up, Abby? Oh, and hello, Vanessa. Thank you for joining, y'all. Oh, Camille said Morris has not aged well. Boom, baby.
Lies. Revoke your sister card. We're done.
It'll just be 75 and fine, honey. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that.
You gotta put this comment up though. You gotta put the next one up though, Mom.
Wait, why Latoya said Michael on Monday and Tuesday?
You mean Morris? Or you Michael B. Jordan? Okay, I'll give that to you, Latoya. I'll give it to you.
She's not even saying Morris, because Morris is not even in the category.
Jesus, y'all are doing me wrong right now. I am.
Somebody said FG. Yes, honey. Okay, your brother. Thank you very much.
Samira,
thank you very much.
I hope I'm saying your name right.
See, yeah. Tammy's with me. I love the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, Abby. Thank you, baby. Thank you. We know what a grown ass, fine ass man look like. I'm saying. Thank you very much.
I don't know. I think Roger's winning.
My feelings hurt. They're hurt.
See, somebody said Michael looks like a baby. That's exactly what I'm talking about. He's too young. He's too pretty boy. Idris will get him all the way together. You know this. There's no contest here. We can move right along because he's already won.
I can see there's some traitors in this space, and it's okay.
There's some moves in this.
Okay, listen. Y'all like Idris. Morris Chestnut can forever chest my nuts. So hey, we've settled that.
I can't with you.
But this is how I know we'll always be best friends, darling, because we will never have to fight over a man.
We will never. Will never. You take Idris and
they're going in the comments.
They are.
Somebody said MBJ has more.
He is with me. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, sis. Thank you. I'm gonna send you an album. Thank you.
Symmetry. I don't need a man who has symmetry. Listen, your left eye can be a little funny. Your right eye can be looking a little different. As long as you got that swag I need, I'm good, honey.
So it's about the swag.
It's about the swag. It's always about the swag.
Listen,
when I first met Mr. Landell, honey, he walked in to the video shoot with a gray pinstripe suit on. I was like, and done. Okay, that's all you need.
What can you do? When you got this Landell blood running through your veins, you know what I'm saying? It just be like that. We just
you got that.
It just be like that. That was funny. Yeah, I love y'all. Thank y'all for commenting and obliging us. Also, I'll take a pause real quick before I end this segment. Everybody who's watching, please do us a huge favor and start a watch party. Share with your people. And for those who are watching who didn't see us right from the beginning, we were able to do something really amazing this morning with our podcast here in Denver called Creative Mornings. And it was so amazing. And I'm so proud of the way this podcast has grown. So please help us out and press that start watch party. Okay.
Yeah.
And before we bring on our lovely guest, what'd you say, Raj?
Nothing. I was talking about cocktails. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
Okay. Before we bring on our amazing guests, I want to highlight two quick things. I love me some Zendaya. She's definitely a system power. I love her. She's just such a role model. And she was gracing all up and through Essence. And so if you have not seen Zendaya on the cover of Essence and her whole spread, please go take a look. But we salute you, Zendaya. We really love you. And I have some amazing news for all my Coming to America fans. It is coming out.
Hey!
When?
March 5th, 2021 on Amazon Prime.
Oh, girl, we gotta do. I want to go to the theater. Dang.
I know. I was a little like, why didn't y'all want to, do the theater thing?
Show up like we did for Wakanda, man.
We can't, sis. Like they're doing.
Maybe we could do some cool virtual shit with this podcast.
That would be. That would be really good.
If y'all want to watch,
we could do a viewing party.
Exactly.
That would be dope. A viewing party would be dope. Would y'all be down for a Coming to America 2 viewing party?
Yes. We promise not to talk too much shit. We promise to do our very level best. Or maybe we just drink a lot of cocktails and talk shit.
Right. Listen, it better not be bad. Because Coming to America is a classic. I need them to do it.
I need them to stop remaking things. I
do too. I'm so excited.
That's also very
original.
I respect that.
So that's it. And this week, guys, we have a little ratchet. We have a little, a little beauty. We have, Sisters in Power. So thank y'all. And are y'all ready for the guest?
Yes.
Woo! All right. I hope they hear me in another room getting ready. So y'all better be ready. All right, let's go. So I just want to you didn't know that was your cue. It's your cue. I just want to introduce a phenomenal woman that I'm sure many of you have come on today to see and to embrace and to honor. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the one and only Elisabeth Epps. Listen, I met her through our second guest, who I have to introduce in special ways. But I met her through our second guest. Elisabeth is an abolitionist. She has her JD. She be out there in these streets, changing the laws, making things happen, bailing people out, buying people's freedom for $5, $10 and whatever additional fees they have to pay. And really just trying to shed light on a lot of the injustices in our criminal justice system. When I tell you I have so much love, respect, and honor for this woman, I look up to her. I believe in everything that she does and everything that she's trying to accomplish. And I'm so honored that she would be here on the Sip with us today. So we're going to bring on Elisabeth. And then also coming with her is the amazing, the phenomenal, the love of my life. She is my queen to be.
Yes.
Your elected official, your Denver District 9 representative, Candi CdeBaca, holding it down, starting off as an activist and organizer and coming into that elected space. I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to let them come in and join us. So please give it up for Candi CdeBaca and Elisabeth Epps.
How are you guys? Can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Yay, good.
So the second woman alive, I had to wait so y'all could see her for yourself.
Yes.
Candi CdeBaca. What's going on, you guys? How you guys doing today?
We're good. We're over here trying to cast and stream and hear. So we're multitasking over here because we want the full experience while we're guests too.
Word. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. E, how you feeling, sis?
She got this. She's good.
That's how
they should pay us for this. They should pay us for this.
So you asked, Carrie, you asked, what am I sipping on?
Yeah, what you sipping on?
So, I really appreciate you, Carrie Joy, but I'd never heard of peanut butter whiskey until 2 weeks ago. And I found out that you knew about peanut butter whiskey before 2 weeks ago. So how my adult life had proceeded to this point without the knowledge that such a thing as peanut butter and whiskey did exist, I hold you responsible for. So I'm drinking on that, and then because I'm me, I like to cut it with a little chaser of albuterol.
Come on now. Okay, this was real.
We're way too nerdy for this show. I'm sipping on water. This is my lovely,
She got water and I got an inhaler. So
this is the nerd.
I knew Candy was gonna have a drinky drink. Dang, man. No.
Not today.
I can't mix alcohol with albuterol.
Understood.
Word, y'all. Welcome to the space. We really appreciate you guys being here. So real quick, we're gonna start off with the question of the day, okay? And then we're gonna jump into all of the other beautiful things, questions, interview. So you guys ready?
We're ready.
All right. I thought you guys would like this one, okay? So the government has been erased. Law is abolished. Anarchic chaos ensues. You retreat with your family to a remote mountain village. Somehow you emerge as the natural leader, but the people will only tolerate one rule. What rule will you say?
One rule. No stealing. And stealing to me is like stealing of time, stealing of trust, stealing to me is so like broad that it's a rule that like I think goes so much further than what we currently think of when we think of stealing something from a store. Like it's about your relationships and stealing people's trust. And so that would be my only rule. That's kind of the only rule I really live by anyway. What about you?
Okay.
Well, I was gonna say the one rule would be whatever Candi CdeBaca says, but that can't be our rule. I think the only rule is gonna be respecting agency and autonomy. So of self and others.
Explain that though, because not everybody knows what that means.
Carrie's friends do, they're nerds too.
I might show this to my niece, my little niece.
Your niece is a nerd too.
She is.
Autonomy and agency, like nothing matters to me. Nothing matters to me more than agency. And so equipping folks and moving in a way such as to facilitate and so as to not get in the way of others being able to live in their truth would be, I mean, the rule, lowercase r rule that I would want. That's very much how I move through the world, right? Like, I'm like very much a philosophical libertarian. It doesn't work in practice because we don't have an even playing field. But in theory, right, I want you to stay out of my gun cabinet, my uterus, my bedroom.
Okay.
And we would just all move, right, in our own lanes. But in practice, that doesn't work. But I would say respecting agency and autonomy, although I do like the idea of not stealing resources when it comes to like time.
Yeah. And I feel like the flip side of like not taking is like taking care of everybody else around you. Like that's the flip side of it. And I feel like most people don't understand anarchy, but at the root of anarchy is just taking care of yourself and taking care of others. That's it.
It's not chaos.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's basically we're gonna have an awesome society, Carrie.
Yes.
I'm with it. Okay. I mean, I think I could live in a mountain village where like you and like both of y'all co-lead. I'm down for that.
We're queen and queens. I just want everyone to be queens and kings.
Just queens.
Just queens. That could work too.
Janelle Monáe said, "We don't need another ruler. All of my friends are kings." You know what I mean?
That's right. Okay.
We all got each other. You know, that's my girl. So okay, word. What about you, Mo, Raj? What would your one rule be? I feel like I know what Mo's might be.
I have a few in my mind, but what you think? What you think mine is?
No BAN.
Right, no BANs. That's what I was gonna say.
That no BANs. No BANs allowed. That was definitely in my top 3 of what was in my head. And just a couple, off of that, piggybacking off of that a little bit, just the lying, and when Candi said stealing, for me it was like lying. I just can't stand people who take the truth, spin it up, manipulate it, and feed it to people like food, and you got to believe this and do this. It would be definitely that for me.
I love that. You got one, Ryan?
I mean, aside from like everybody gets massages every day, or like
right,
there's unlimited bubbly on said island.
She's like, no sex in the champagne room. That's the only rule.
Okay. Or maybe lots of sex in the champagne. It depends on the day.
That could be it.
No, but in all seriousness, it's funny. I promise y'all I'm not religious. I'm not. But this rule of like love thy neighbor as yourself, there's something, it sounds trivial, but I love its simplicity, because I think if you can really see somebody else, see yourself in someone else, see your someone else's story in your story, and have compassion and empathy. And I really feel like that's what we are lacking right now. And it boggles my mind that people don't see themselves in other people's struggles and in other people's, issues. And to the point where, why wouldn't you want to make someone else's world better, even if you feel like you're okay or whatever that is? So I need more of that in the world. So that would be my rule.
I'm with it.
Amen. Love it.
Amen.
What about you, Carrie?
Okay,
right. Mine would be, no exploitation of. I mean, it's basically yours. It's like I feel like it's the same thing. But no exploitation of people in land, of living things. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we need to be living in a world where there's reciprocity. And so if I'm going to be taking anything, then there needs to be something that I'm also giving in return to make sure that we can replenish, we can be nourished, and we can sustain. So yeah, no exploitation, man. Reciprocity only. That was mine.
That's beautiful.
Keep it short and simple, to the point. I mean, because, and I think if we created a world where like each of us were able to have our rules, you know what I mean? Like, it could be a beautiful world. And that's why I do believe in anarchy, because I'm just like, we don't need this big bad government telling us everything that we need to do and defining what humanity is. Like, I don't need a rule. I don't need a law to define the fact that I'm human as a Black queer woman in the world. Fuck that. Like, I don't need you to tell me that.
Right.
I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
point blank in the period, honey.
Point blank.
Shut up.
We don't need to live like a colony, right? Remember our conversation about that? Like, we don't need to be a colony.
Candi said my government.
We were talking about the fact that the U.S. has colonies, and people are like, oh, yeah, we're free. Like, we left Britain we left, England because of persecution and shit. And we came over here, we created a free land, and then but we have colonies called Puerto Rico,
but you can't live here. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we just doing the same shit anyway. I'm sorry. Y'all gonna make me go off on a tangent.
No, you're good.
Okay. What's up, MK? Just wanted to say shout out. I would love for you to be in my world, sis. All right, people. Shall we continue?
Yes.
So let's dive into the interview. I first wanted to ask you guys to tell us, how did you two meet? Elisabeth Epps and Candi CdeBaca?
We were
tell the truth.
I stalked her for so long before I met her that I thought I knew her. So I don't even remember when I like really met her, because I just knew of her for so long before we were actually like in the same room together and became friends. I really don't remember.
So we were like cheating and trying to talk about this question before we started. And how do I say this and be modest?
Don't be modest. There's no room for modesty.
I'm trying to be.
Not here.
Not on
in
the
general, I'm not impressed with other women. But I mean, I support other women. I'm rooting for other women. But in terms of like the short list of like, if I couldn't be me, who I'd want to be, And I knew about Candi for a long time before I met her. And we talked about this for like 30 minutes, y'all. I cannot remember. It was years and years ago.
I don't even remember the first time we were in the same room.
We should come up with a better story because I don't know. It's like I've known her forever.
No, that's awesome.
It's like kind of like I feel like I felt that with Carrie when I met her. You know, you feel like you know somebody's spirit the minute you meet them. Like you've known them maybe in another life, maybe like in a parallel universe. But I just recognized her the minute I like heard of her, and then it was history after that.
Same thing. So it was years and years ago. I just know that it's almost like when we met. Raj, I think it was you who said you're not religious. Someone said that earlier. I'm not particularly either, but like whenever it was that we met years and years ago, it was just a physical meeting again. We already knew each other.
Yeah.
And so I know that may sound weird, but
I know what you mean.
Could not figure this out because it's hard to remember life before knowing her.
Yeah.
So.
So cute. Friends like that. That's awesome. I love my girls, man. That's awesome.
Sorry, that's not a good answer, but we can't remember.
That's true.
No, listen, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, but you guys met each other doing the work though, right?
For sure, through the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't actually have a life outside of the work. Like the work is my life.
I have a life period.
I told Carrie when I met her, like, I'm married to these streets. Like I am married.
On the very first date.
The work to me is not work. The work is life. And so I met her doing something that I was doing on the weekend, which to some people is probably work. And to me, it was just living.
Yeah.
Word. So as we talk about the work, I'm gonna start with you, E. Can you just tell the world a little bit about, well, first of all, can you share what your shirt says with everybody?
Oh, yes.
What am I wearing today? Free them all.
Yes, free them all. And that goes hand in hand with your abolitionist work, correct?
Absolutely.
So tell the world, tell us, what is an abolitionist and how do you practice that in your everyday life? How do you practice abolition?
Yeah, so anything I'm about to tell you, it's important to preface it by just being really explicit. Like, these are not my ideas. These are things that Black women, Black queer women have taught us for years, for decades, for generations. And I have the privilege of living it and experiencing it and hoping to put it into practice. But as an abolitionist, right, I mean, in the most literal sense, so we are working to abolish the PIC, the prison industrial complex. And yes, that does mean tearing down things, right? So preventing the building of new cages, jails, closing prisons, closing jails. It means that, but abolition is way more about that which we build, right? So abolition is about the work of creation. So it's about building communities, which is what, the councilwoman does. You did it before you were a councilwoman, but building communities that have clean water and clean air and schools free of policing and opportunities for rest and play and work and recreation. And because we know that when you build communities that have these things, right, these communities don't also need cages. And so even now, as we're moving into a more public conversation about abolition as it relates to defunding and abolishing police, and when people are scared by these phrases, we like to remind them we're just talking about what the suburbs already have, right? The suburbs already have communities that are free of policing, right? They already have this. This isn't a new concept. So as abolitionists, we're working to put into place the structures and the systems and to replace systems so that we can have a world where people aren't in cages. And I think, I'm going to wrap this up, Carrie, but I think that it's been eye-opening in the past few years to realize how controversial that sentence is, to say that humans don't belong in cages. This shirt, this is from the Massachusetts Bail Fund, but bond fund, the idea of free them all, there's no asterisk at the end. It's not except for fill in the blank. Humans don't belong in cages. And so as abolitionists, you ask me what it means and what we do. We start from that premise and we work backwards, right? We acknowledge that humans don't belong in cages. Then you work to create the circumstances whereas no one can justify putting a human in a cage. That's what we do as abolitionists. And on a macro level, and on a personal level, I have dialed 911, and there has not been an alternative. There has not been the thing that I needed that wasn't a man or a woman with a gun, right? That hasn't existed yet. And so I'm working to create a community in Denver and beyond such that it does exist. I've also been on the receiving end of that, right? I've been in a cage. Last year, I served 16 nights in a cage for talking back to a cop. That was ridiculous, but it also was not. It was not inconsistent with what other Black women endure on the daily. So, long-winded way of saying, as abolitionists, we work to build communities where there's no justification for cages because all the things, right, are filled in terms of environmental safety and opportunities for work and play. And so we don't need cages. And I do the work not because I'm particularly magnanimous or because I particularly, care about my fellow humans, but because I've needed those resources and they didn't exist when I did. And so I'm working to make sure that they exist now.
Word.
Amen.
Amen to that. Thank you so much, E. And what was that?
And we're done. That's like the
mic drop right there.
Wrap up the podcast. No, that's real. I mean, you know, I first really like found out about you and your work, Elisabeth, when you were doing the bailouts. So like the Father's Day and Mother's Day bailouts. And you know, you were out there buying freedom for Black and brown men and women. And that's when I started to really start to think about the concept of a world without cages. I had never thought about it before, honestly. And so when it hit me, I was just like, yeah, I mean, that really, like, in my heart, in my soul, in the depths of my being, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, why should anybody deserve to be in a cage? You know what I mean? And, you know, even if there are other ways that we figure out how to deal with people that harm communities, that harm individuals, like there are other ways that we can work that out. But like, why should anybody ever be in a cage? And I've just always appreciated how you stick to your convictions with that, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's so hard when we're surrounded by them, you know? So I just want to thank you for what you do. Just wanted to put that in there real quick. So onto the fabulous, beautiful, phenomenal, wonderful, my baby, Candi CdeBaca. So, sweetheart, can you tell the world what it's like being an activist and an organizer that has become an elected official? What are some of the pros and cons of that, and what have you learned and taken with you?
In one word, it's hell.
Right.
But it's you know, I think it's probably one of the most important experiences I've ever had, probably in any of my lifetimes, because I know I've done this before. You know, I know I've existed before in some other form and kind of picking up where I left off. And I think that the space that I'm in right now is only hell for a little while. I feel like it's one of those moments where I'm kicking down a door that will be open forever now for other people. But I feel marginalized to, you know, a degree that's very similar to what it was like outside of office. You know, growing up in a community that was half Black, half brown, 100% poor, the feeling of marginalization is not new to me. It's not something I wasn't prepared for. It was something I was very familiar with. I also was quite accustomed to abusive relationships. And I think that it's multiple abusive relationships at a different level. And so for me, you know, it's a moment of endurance and keeping my eye on the prize for the outcome, because, you know, I know when we were knocking doors, when I have like talked to little kids and like to see little kids from my community, to see my own family members see something that they've never seen before. A regular person, a regular brown girl from our neighborhood have a platform to lift up all of our voices. That to me is what cancels out all of the trauma associated with being where I am. And I think that, you know, the excitement I see from other people about the potential for change and the opportunity to sit in these seats it makes it all worth it. And so it's it's hell, but it's gratifying. And I feel like it is part of a larger puzzle, and just knowing my lane and staying in it and trying to do the best that I can in it is something, yeah, right. Is something that, you know, to me, it's my purpose. It's what I'm supposed to be doing in this lifetime right now.
And it really is, like, I don't know. I live with her every day, y'all. And every single day, you know, I'm just like, this is exactly where you're supposed to be in life. Making these changes, shifting the atmosphere around you. I remember you had shared a quote with me about, and I'm going to butcher this, but like, you know, when you are where you're supposed to be or living in your purpose as you're supposed to, you don't have to necessarily change too much about you in order to make the impact you have to make. Like, you be who you are, then the world shifts around you. Like it aligns as it's supposed to, right? I completely butchered that. It's a lot more concise and clear. But when you want something bad enough, all the world conspires to help you achieve it. Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
And that is like, you know, where I feel like deeply connected to Elisabeth, because I never framed what I wanted as abolition. I framed what I wanted as freedom, as liberation. And, you know, everything that I've ever done in my life was to create more liberation for myself and for anyone and everyone around me. And that is like what I'm trying to make the world conspire to do. And that's why I got you guys in my life.
Yes.
So let's talk about that real quick. Just along that same vein, both of you, and then Raj, I'm gonna come to you right after this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But since we're talking about it, both of you, can you talk to everyone about the world that you are actively building, and what does it look like, and how can we as a society help us get there?
You know,
what can we do?
When Councilwoman CdeBaca had her launch party a couple years ago to launch her campaign, I spoke at it. A lot of people did. And I don't remember much of what I said, but I do remember, because I was a little embarrassed that I said it out loud. I remember saying to the crowd that I know, and I do, a lot of really smart people, and that Candi was absolutely one of the smartest people I've ever known. Just sharp and curious, and just a level of brilliance that, like, sometimes I'm embarrassed for her when we're in a room with other folks, even other elected officials, because she's so much smarter than them that it doesn't feel fair. Mm-hmm. So I say all of that to say, in the world that I'm working for and that I want, she's still going to be exceptional. Mm-hmm. But she won't be so much of an outlier. Mm-hmm. Because in the world that we're working towards, right, the opportunities will be there, right? Candi is despite. She's not because. Like, she's been through things and endured things and experienced things and survived things, and is here both because and despite, if that makes sense. But the world I'm working for is one where she's exceptional, but she's not quite that exceptional, right? And even myself, right? I was pregnant when I was 16. My son is now a graduate student, and mean, he's doing the corniest thing possibly imaginable, right? He's a college lacrosse coach, right? How does that happen, right? That me, 16 and pregnant, has this kid who's now a Black 6'3" college lacrosse coach. That shouldn't be exceptional. It should be interesting, but it should be that all of the building blocks were there such that she could be on city council and that I would be well and my son would be a graduate student, but for the factors. And so it's this like, it's not even leveling, but it's this righting of wrongs and it's correcting of opportunities that so much as Black and brown people and as queer folks, like so much of our identity is about survival. It is about how do we get through today to face tomorrow. The world that I'm working towards is one where those aren't the top considerations, right? I'm sitting here, right, with an accomplished poet and singers and a violinist. You all are going to be accomplished and exceptional anyway, but it's almost like it's that degree of like, you shouldn't be quite that exceptional, right? Because all our baby girls should have access to a violin, right? If she wants it, right? And all our baby girls should have access to practice her art, whether it's singing or poetry, or, I mean, Carrie, you do 5011 things. Like that should be what's shared, and where so much of what we're lauded for is the mere act of survival. And I find that exhausting. And so that's very much tied into the work of abolition. Candi says she didn't have the words for that, but like neither did I until a few years ago. But it's about fighting for a world where the liberation like equals this playing field, such that the ways in which we are exceptional, we're exceptional because of our unique talents and what we bring to it, and not exceptional because we survived.
Right.
And right now, so much of what is exceptional about us is that we're just still here. So that's the antithesis of the world we're working for. We're working for one where we're all here.
Yeah.
Right. And where she has help on city council, right? Where she's sorry, let me stop the lecture. Go ahead.
No, I mean,
oh no, that's real.
She's saying it all. I think about the minute she started talking, I thought about that Lupe Fiasco song. What is it called? Is it All Black? All Black? I don't know what it's about, but where he talks about like he basically creates a world and talks about a world where like everything is flipped around and like Blackness means something entirely different. And I just like think about how I was raised and how I was addicted to books and addicted to reading because it exposed me to all of the possible worlds that could exist. And one of my favorite books is The Alchemist, because, you know, all of us should be able to live in any dream that we create, anything that we want. And we shouldn't have to struggle and work these jobs, these endless jobs, to never even manifest that dream that's in our mind. And so for me, like, I dream about community. I dream about a place where people have everything they need, where food and housing, it's a human right, and where we have the time and the space to innovate, to create, to work together, where the competition that we perceive is only for fun and not for our livelihoods. Like, that's the kind of world that I want us to live in. The kind of world where everybody takes care of everybody's kids. Everybody knows each other and it perceives each other as an extension of our family and ourselves.
I'm in.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Amen. Y'all preaching. Raj, I know you had a question. So.
You know, I just had a quick sister friend question, because I know, like, obviously we on the SIP here, we are definitely sister friends and we hold each other up, and we also talk each other through like our most nervous or our most brave moments, right? And I know you guys have been friends for a while, and I wanted to know, what was that moment like when you came to Candi, when you came to Elisabeth and was like, chick, I'm running for office, honey. Like this, we
That's not even how it happened, though.
I need to know what that sister girl conversation was.
Wait, that's not even how it happened, though.
Okay,
because you presented it as respectfully as she came and was like she wanted to share it, like she was running for office.
Yeah,
that's not even how it happened. So I told Candi that she was running for office.
Yes.
And the funny part about that, and to the end of my days, I'm going to insist that it was really me. But I have heard from community that there were actually like a dozen other people who had this one-on-one intervention with her, who also went to her and were like, let me tell you what you're going to do. What you're going to do. Right, the conversation was just: is it city council or is it some other race? And like,
or the presidency, you know. I mean,
there's a picture that I love of us so much. I don't know if you remember it, but there's a picture that I think Dave Russell took, and it's the night of her election, and I'm running, like we're in the place where we celebrated her victory, and I'm like running, and she's looking surprised, and I've got this look of like, I told you. And at that point, it was over. But like when we decided, I'm cycling back to what you really asked. This seat wasn't open, to be clear, right? And that's a different thing when a seat is open. The seat was not open. The seat was occupied by a very popular, well-liked, loved probably incumbent, who, you know, all my skin folk ain't my kinfolk, but who looked like us. And this seat was not open. And so it wasn't like it was a natural time. But I definitely was like, okay, so I've got this friend, and she needs to take this city council race.
Yes.
And this is narcissistic to say, but I was thinking about it as like, I really don't have time to knock doors, but I guess I'm going to have to, because this was what she was supposed to do for us.
You saw it
so
in
the
her.
funny part is just that when I went to her, she's so gracious. Actually, you're not that humble in general.
No, that's so funny.
I know my worth.
Candi knows she's fine.
Okay.
I know my worth.
Humble, she did feign humility. And it wasn't until later that I found out how many other people in community had come to her and said, you're going to run for this seat. And so we considered it more like an intervention, because it wasn't even, you know, I love you, but it wasn't even about her in this moment. It was about taking back that which was ours.
Yeah. But were you afraid for her? Like, were you, or were you just like, this is my
not nearly enough.
Do it? Yeah.
I didn't even, what she has been through, the threats, threats to her personal safety, to her family, to her wellness. I think if I had better understood what she was going to face, I think selfishly, I probably wouldn't have encouraged her.
Yeah.
Naively, I mean, I'm a grown ass woman, but I did not understand
the level.
I didn't understand the levels of the danger she was facing. But in terms of just the role itself, she was made for this.
And I think a lot of the time too, like people were asking me to run for this seat for a period of at least 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And, you know, for me, I was running a nonprofit that I had started when I was in college, and it was a do or die moment. I was basically called in to shut the organization down. We were going under, and I remember that moment, and I was just like crying, and I was like, I can't let this die. I had moved back because my grandma had passed away. And like I was getting this news that the organization, I had moved back to Denver, and I was getting this news that my baby, our organization, it was a 13-year-old organization at the time, was going to die too. And I was like, I can't let that happen. And so I was unilaterally focused on the survival of that organization, while everybody was like trying to like get me to shift that focus to the survival of our community. And, you know, I tried to integrate it and make it part of the work of the organization. And really that's what saved the organization, is integrating saving the community and teaching people how to save their own community. That made it survive. And then it was a natural pivot to the next step, but I couldn't leave the organization until it was the right next step. And when people like Elisabeth asked me, you know, I started to take it a little more serious, because I didn't, you know, people ask you to do things all the time.
Right.
And
if your sister friend says it, you know, she means it.
Everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to tell, especially women right now, especially brown and black women, everybody's going to tell you run for office. But not everybody. Let's be real. Not everybody should be trusted when they tell you that, because they don't know shit about running for office. They don't know what it means. They don't know what it's like. But when people like Elisabeth started asking me, I started to think about, you know, if I do this, at least I know I have people of this caliber behind me to do it with me. And so once I started to feel like I had a solid team of people who would protect me while I was going through it, I went after it. Because I'm not going to lie, you know, growing up the way I grew up, the one thing I've always desired is to be protected. And when I felt protected enough by my community, I felt like it was the right next step for me. And she was a huge part of that. She literally dragged me to the last, like that last day of the election. Like she picked me up in the morning and dragged me every step of the way until the last moment. And I was just like, if she can do this, like, I know that she'll be with me through this. Same with Carrie. Like, it was feeling protected enough to put myself on the line to protect other people at that level.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, wait a minute.
Shout out to y'all's friendship. Seriously.
Yes, that's incredible,
That's
y'all.
amazing.
Y'all, she had on inappropriate walking shoes the last day.
Lord.
We're knocking doors.
It was terrible, but it was the most.
It was worth
it. Was the best day of the whole campaign for sure.
But the fact that y'all did it together too, just that touches my heart, because I feel like all of us, you know, we don't realize how many miracles we get through with our sisters standing beside us. Sometimes we just be going, and you know, so that's beautiful, y'all.
Yeah. I knew you were gonna win though.
It was like everybody tells you, like,
I don't play to lose.
Everybody tells you that a woman can lift up a car if her baby is under a car. And I feel like that day was an example of like women lifting up cars. Like what I saw her doing, what I saw her making me do, I was like, this is not human. This is superhuman strength right now.
And I'm with you 100%, E. Like we were not there to lose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were not there to lose. That's why we was knocking doors, getting all that frostbite, getting heat stroke. Because you know how Colorado is. One day, you know what I'm saying, it's negative whatever degrees, and then the next day. So, you know, and I'll never forget, you know, the second election night where we saw the first round of results come in, and we were like, oh, we got it. It's not even a question. It's not even a question.
You and I were celebrating before she was, because she understood what work was.
Right.
We were like,
she was like,
oh shit.
No,
I won. What the fuck am I gonna do now?
Oh no, like, I won. Oh shit, I won.
Go ahead, Mo. I know you had a question, sis.
Yes, I have a question for the both of you. I think in whatever discipline that we all are in, we don't always know the trajectory of how our life is going to go. You have like a broad scope of, oh, I want to be in politics or I want to be a musician. But if I'm 38, if you would have told me 20 years ago that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I would probably not believe you. And my question for you is, I have a niece who is 20. She's a political science major at University of Chicago. She did an internship in DC last year. We're actually going to have her on the show in January. She agreed, guys. So she is very passionate about anything young Black girl, like getting us, you know, getting her peers into positions of power within school. Just she's a badass little girl, and I just love her to pieces. She got a chance to go to DC last year. She faced Pelosi, asked her a very challenging question about Black girls and what she's going to do for Black girls. And it just, you know, it was really dope. And just to see her blossom. So I want to know from you both, who are such powerhouses in your own right, what advice would you give a 20-year-old who's on this path of the political world? I don't think she really knows 100% what she wants to do within the space, but what would you have liked to hear at that age, and what would you tell her in terms of reaching those dreams within that political?
You do not have to do what they say you have to do to be successful in this space. And in fact, if you do what they say you have to do, you are probably going to be the kind of person we don't want or need in that space. So be rooted in who you are and your community, and make sure that you keep that bubble to protect you. when people are tempting you with a different identity and a different purpose. Politics is a means to an end, not the end.
Yes.
Come on.
Anything you want to add?
You know, I guess I'm thinking. What you said, it was your niece.
It's my niece.
Thinking about your niece, and I'm thinking about me at 20. Write it all down. Right? Be your own best reference. Have yourself to refer to. I thought, like, when I think about the things I wanted to be by this age, I mean, just to be blunt, my mother died when she was 33. So having outlived her, like my imagination didn't go past 33. I didn't have a mental image. So like every year past 33 is just a delightful sort of surprise. Like, well, look at this. What can I do this year? I wanted to be a Delta. I wanted to be a doctor. And I thought I was going to be married with a whole bunch of kids with my little starting five. And like, so I am a Delta. I am not a doctor, and I don't have a little starting five lineup. But I think that like there's a video, it was on Twitter not that long ago, of me at age 12 debating the death penalty.
Come on.
Wow.
Okay.
Mad at 12. Right? This poor boy, I'm trying to find him on the Twitters to find the boy I was debating he was pro death penalty. Like, even though I didn't know what it would look like, I wrote it all down, and I kept journals and diaries, and I was true to myself. And, you know, the way that your niece sees the world at 20, it shouldn't be the way she sees the world at 30. And much less the way she sees the world at 40, right? The underlying convictions, the principles should be the same, but the worldview and the nuance shouldn't be. And, you know, you want to push hard. And I think about this as a parent, that like, I don't have that many parenting regrets. I raised a child who I wanted to question authority, and I hope your niece is one of those people. But like, the one place where I failed is I forgot to clarify he didn't need to question my authority.
Okay.
I missed that one. So maybe, you asked about her. Maybe as auntie, you should clarify, like, trust me, don't question me. But other than that, like, write it all down and try, be brave. And if your body cooperates, you know, when you're around at 30 and 40, like you're gonna have regrets, but the idea is for them to not be that big.
And there's no real path. Like, when I think a lot about both of our careers, like, there's not a real path. And I live by this saying, form follows function. Like, if leadership doesn't have a path, it just means like help activate people's agency and autonomy in everything that you do. Like, that is what leadership is. Like, you don't need to necessarily have this plotted out path that you follow step by step. It's whatever you're doing, do a good freaking job. Like, take care of people, and that snowballs into something that you become. It snowballs into the thing. I'm not a politician. I'm still becoming. Like, I just want to be a good person.
Amen. Okay.
If we had more people like that in the world of politics, maybe we could get somewhere in life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Please, Jesus, instead of the robots with the face sweat. I'm sorry.
With the
that's why they're so scared of her, though.
Right.
That's real.
That's
real.
For the next, like, and I'm guilty of this myself, is having a conversation with her of what's next.
Right.
What's next? Maybe another term on city council. What's next? Maybe something different. But like, she was born for this, right? She was born for this, and so it's why it works so well. It's why the door knocking worked, because when I'm knocking doors in District 9, talking to neighbors about her, they were ready for her.
They knew.
Some knew her name, and some didn't. But like, they were ready for you. I don't know if you understand that.
But the this to me is standing up for our people. Like, the this isn't city council. Like, the this is,
but you were already doing that.
Teaching the purpose, the overall purpose.
Themselves.
Whether you were a high schooler though, or
no matter what it was,
a social worker, right? And so that's what the community resonates with, because some people had your name even when they couldn't pronounce it, and others didn't, but they knew what they wanted, right? And so as a door knocker, as a volunteer, I just got to say, oh, guess what? It wasn't me knocking and saying, let me tell you about this woman running for office. It was me saying, tell me what you want in a city councilor. And then they told me, and I said, guess who I can introduce you to, right? And that's your niece, right? When you live in your truth and you walk in your truth, whatever that is, right? It comes together in that way. And of course you will.
Can we just be here for? Can we just be here for the sister friend like Elisabeth? I just needed a sister friend like Elisabeth in my life, sis.
Right.
Who is just as fierce as you and who tells the whole world about you. I think that's fantastic.
I love this.
This one, no, this Candy's real.
I love her.
Oh.
I love both of y'all.
We love you.
And I'm blessed and honored to have you both in my lives, and all of y'all in my lives. Like I look around and I'm like, yeah, life is good. But I just wanted to ask a couple more questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about CFF, about the Colorado Freedom Fund. Tell us about the Colorado Freedom Fund and what are some of your proudest moments within that organization?
So Colorado Freedom Fund is my baby. So we exist for pretty much one simple purpose, which is to get people out of cages. And also we exist to work ourselves out of existence, right? So our goal is through litigation, legislation, and direct action to make it that we don't need to exist. And that specifically means ending wealth-based detention. Colorado is a wonderful place to do this work because in spring of 2018, when we reached out, by we, it's a little bit royal, I mean me. When we reached out to community and said, help us get Black mothers. Side note, we're very generous with the definition of Black mothers. We mean Black femmes, Black folks who are caretaking, who are taking care of children. Help us get them out of cages for Mother's Day. The community was like, yeah, let's. And that was the response. And so we set up a revolving bail fund to do the work of abolition in Colorado. It's important for me to clarify, you asked me about CFF, about the Colorado Freedom Fund. We may be the first statewide group to do this in a named way in Colorado, but the work of abolition and what we're doing buying each other's freedom is not new, right? So as long as Black folks have been on this continent, we've been pooling our resources to buy each other's freedom. And we've been doing that with white allies too, right? The good Quakers from way back, hundreds of years ago, Quaker folks were pooling their money, right, in their little church meetings to buy freedom for enslaved Africans. And so that's an old idea that has a new model now as we're working to do it via policy channels. You asked what were some of our proudest moments. I will spare you the wonky policy lecture. But in 2019, so less than a year into our existence, I was actually, that's a separate story, but I've been in jail. I was in the Arapahoe County cage. And I was talking with the women in my pod about wanting to run a bill to end cash bail on low-level offenses. And I couldn't, right, so much for my fancy law degree, right? Mo, you mentioned your niece being at this top 10 school, right? I was at one of these top 10 law schools, and despite all this book learning, I couldn't think how to frame this bill. And a woman who was actually in jail with me suggested how we could go about framing this bill. And so one of my proudest moments is helping to author and run HB House Bill 191225, which ended cash bail for low-level offenses in Colorado.
Come on.
She just got rid of it. She was like, I want to get rid of it. I'm going to get rid of it.
We got rid of it. And we got rid of it. Eva's my co-director at the Freedom Fund. So HB 191225. What's a big deal about this show? There's a few things, but one is that what this woman, I'm not going to say her name, but who was in jail with me, what she suggested, because I was struggling with how do we build a bill that doesn't exclude, we don't want to say no bail except for, no bail except for. And she suggested, why don't you start at the bottom up? Why don't you just say all municipal offenses, right? All petty, all traffic. And so that's what we did. And so it's a testament to Colorado that this bill passed unanimously, which obviously means bipartisan, right? And so whether you care about liberation or whether you're a sheriff who's conservative that cares about saving money, we ended cash bail for these low-level offenses in 2019, and the world hasn't fallen apart. And so that was a huge deal. It says a lot about the landscape.
Okay, salute to you, sis.
So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited to say that, 2 years ago, we spent something like $45,000 for the year in paying ransom. Cash bail is ransom, just to be clear, right? Because the only reason people are in is because they're too poor to afford their ransom, their bail. And then in a couple month period earlier this year, we spent over $800,000 of community donations in buying people's freedom. And so I'm proud of that. I'm not proud just because of the number itself, but because of the people it represents. Because cash bail, right, it keeps people from their families, from their pets, from their plants, from their jobs, from their housing, from all these things that make life worth living. And I'm proud
for like $1, for
$1.
For like literally, especially like with the service, the processing fees and shit, like somebody could literally have like a $5, $10 bail, $20 bail and have money to pay for it, but then they don't have money for the fees, and like it's crazy. It's insane. And I got to approve the changes on Monday that she
Wow. I'm going to put that policy discussion, but just to say one thing that is there's a lot of things that are important about having people like Candi on city council is that Denver is leading in some ways in terms of making changes that help us get our folks free. But we've got some work to do across the state, and we're going to do that work. You'd ask Carrie about what I was proudest about. I'm most proud to be an abolitionist working with folks, co-director Eva Frickle, and with our community partners who are so committed to liberation that like we're not being asked, what if they did it? Right? Where the is, what if they used the drug? What if they slept on the park bench? What if they trespassed? Right. We understand we're starting from that basic premise that people do not belong in cages. And that, and your work underscores this a lot, is that when people are in a situation where they're competing for limited resources that were limited by factors outside of their control, right? It's not about excuse, but it's explanation. We understand how certain crimes of necessity and of poverty can happen. And so our goal at the Freedom Fund is to work ourselves out of existence. But until we do, today is Friday, so it's one of the days that we post in Denver. 5 more people are free because of y'all's donations and because of community commitment to get innocent people out of trial. Out of jail before trial. It means a lot, and it's humbling to be in a position to do this work. Right? Because at the Freedom Fund, we're often meeting people on what is the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
And we're asking them to trust us to help get them free. Oh, actually, Eva just clarified it wasn't 5 today, it was 6 people today. So 6 people I see in the comments that we got free today. So I'm very
She
proud.
sits in the jail, like on her computer, getting people out of jail all day. Like that's hero on another level.
But can we talk about how y'all are like sister friend political superheroes? Like that doesn't happen all the time. Like,
It probably happens more often than we know about. Like those folks just aren't as active on social media.
They're doing the work. I hear that. But y'all are too.
We just start shit on social media, and that's the reason they hang on to us. Like there's so many people doing this.
She's gold. Like we're trying to change systems, and we're trying to, we just finished an election, right? And folks will often misinterpret my feelings about electoral politics, and I'll just have to point out, like, no, I believe in voting. We voted this one into office. Right? From city council on up isn't the word I want, but you know what I mean. From city council to the top, we're going to put people in these spaces, Black women, brown women, queer women, who represent us, right? And represent our values and are going to help us.
And we're going to activate the people in jail to exercise their rights to do it when they get out.
The third city in the country where people were able to vote in jail on election.
Come on now.
Right. That next step is vote outside of jail. But still. We're getting there.
And so talking about activating people, Candi, Baby girl, mi amor. Talk about activating people. What do people in Denver need to be paying attention to right now? Like, what do they need to be getting involved in right now? How do we activate our local community to make sure that we're making the changes that we need to make?
Well, I'm biased because I think that people should be paying attention to city council. Like, there's no other level of government that impacts you more directly than your local government. And a lot of times, like, people tune in for the election part of things and then don't tune back in until 4 years later when they got to vote again. And I think what we have been really activating people to understand is that they're going to tell you what you want to hear during those campaigns. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to pretend like they're with you. And then for the next 4 years, they're going to vote against your interest every single week.
Wow.
And so we are trying to like make it fun. We are trying to help people understand that we cannot get free if we don't know like how this system works and who is on our side. And so, you know, Monday nights is free, it's easy, and now you can literally just log into Zoom or Facebook and watch how people are voting on your tax dollars, how they're voting to change and mold the city in a global pandemic. And I think that that is probably the most important thing to pay attention to, because when 4 years down the road comes along, you shouldn't have to go do research on the people you're voting for.
Right.
Like, you should know, oh, that person told me they were going to defund the police, and then they voted actually to give them a salary increase. Or that person said that, or they supported a statement that says racism is a pandemic and a public health crisis. But then again, they went and voted against everything that would have dismantled racism in a meaningful way. And so those are the kinds of things that I think people need to pay attention to. We have this this culture or this society that teaches us not to pay attention to those things, that teaches us turn on the TV, watch Monday Night Football, don't question the ownership structure, don't question the nonprofit status, don't question anything else that's going on in your life related to your money, related to your family. And I think that that's a paradigm shift that needs to happen. We have to love our freedom and love our families more than football, more than anything else that we devote our time to every week. Because, you know, we will maintain oppression if we keep tuning out. It is not boring to know how people are plotting to keep you in a cage, to keep you in an oppressed state. That is not boring.
Days off.
It's a
amen.
Recovery dollars.
Thank you.
We need to be paying attention to how our city is trying to help us recover and who they want to recover.
Because as we always see, you know, in any of our economic recessions, the first people they bail out are the big corporations, you know, while the people are left suffering, while we have more people, you know, facing evictions and foreclosures, and, you know, we already have a housing crisis, and then we're going to criminalize them. And then Elisabeth has to go to work, and Eva has to go to work to get them out of jail for trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? The cycle continues, right? And so, you know, Candi, you're the first one who taught me about, you know, politics, or like the laws, the policies being the rules of the game. And I have to understand the rules of the game in order to change them and ultimately abolish them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're playing games with my life and I can't afford to play. You know what I mean? So I have to understand.
That simultaneous track is that when they're not going to take care of you, when the government's not going to take care of you, we have to figure out ways to take care of each other, because that is the only way we create an alternative.
Yes. Yeah. I would knock doors for her all over again.
Same. I'm
I was sad I couldn't vote for her because I was like, I mean, how do I move to District 9 so I can vote for Candi? Okay.
Move to District 9. Everybody needs to move to District 9. Or participate in the redrawing of maps, which is about to come up too. That's something
about to happen. That's after they do the census. Yeah, that's usually what kicks off after that. They're like, how do we, concentrate the power that we want to concentrate in certain areas? So
exactly.
Thank you for bringing that up. So Mo, go ahead. I'm gonna kick it to you.
So y'all are so dope. We have we have one more question for the interview, and then we have like a little fun thing that we want to do with you ladies. My question is, in all of the work that you ladies do, the heaviness of it, I can't imagine what it feels like to breathe it day in, out, and still be present in your work. What do you do for refuge? What do you do for your grounding, for your self-care, to make sure that your spirit is taken care of during all of the madness?
Hit it. You first.
She's saying that because she knows my answer is like, I don't have an answer. I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And that's real. That's real though.
Both of us though are both of us are introverts that perform extroversion. And so I think that like people don't realize that this is a form of self-care, but like we don't go places. We don't like to leave our house if we don't have to. And yes,
even before
that.
Yeah.
And that helps me recharge. That helps me take care of myself. And I don't pressure her and she don't pressure me. Like we know that there is never any love lost if we're not in the same spaces together. And I applaud it. Like when she sets up her boundaries and I have another friend who sets up those boundaries to say, no, I'm not going, barely.
Okay. Elisabeth said that's what you don't have.
I have literally had to try and jump through my other friend's window because she wouldn't answer her front door, and I knew she was inside. But like, it used to make me really mad when we were teenagers with our other friend Shamira, and I feel like now I look at Elisabeth and I respect that boundary, and I respect people who say, nah, I can't go out, I can't be doing that. Because it is a form of self-care. You have to recharge. And that is how some of us introverts must recharge.
People like, people really often don't understand like what it means to be an introvert. Like it doesn't necessarily mean we have a public panic attack all out every time we have to be in public. Right. In terms of where you draw your energy from, Carrie knows. It was only today that I found out this event was live. I thought it was pre-recorded. Let me tell you,
I thought she knew. I'm sorry.
There are two people who I would not have backed out of this for. One is Carrie, and the other one, I don't know who it is, but I assume they exist. So when you ask about like that care and that self-care and that recharging, like I think about how often people tell me you work too hard and you're just like, don't like throw yourself into the work. And what I want to ask them is, oh, did you want me to just stay in bed?
Right.
The work is the reason I get up. Right. And I am working even at my old age on like figuring out that balance. But like being in proximity and community to someone I love who is doing the work, like the work is what makes it worth it, right? The work is what makes it that my son and his children, I really want to be a grandma, baby, if you're watching. That will make it such that like they will have the opportunity to exercise that agency and autonomy. The work is it, and I'm going to continue. I'm going to try to be better about that, but like I haven't figured out the care part yet. The most rewarding thing like is doing the work.
Yeah, the world in its current state will suck you into depression. And like the anxiety that I feel from the world is mitigated by the work that I do.
Ooh, did someone write that down?
Oh, that's right.
That was good.
We got it recorded.
Mitigated by the work that I do. Yes, I am plagiarizing that.
Do it.
Right.
Do it.
Well, gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here just basking in it because I think you ladies are I know that what you do is your everyday life. It's how you live. It's the purpose that you walk in. But all of us who are watching you, we know how amazing and how brave and how powerful you are. And I just hope you know how honored we are to just even be talking to you, because you could be right now in your pajamas, chilling and getting some much deserved rest from the world. But instead, you're up here talking with us. And I just really thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
We wanted to do a fun portion because you already, like, your sisterhood energy is so powerful to us, and so we got some rapid fire questions for y'all. So my
very competitive.
Right.
Is there score? Because
is there a winning? Is there a way to win?
Ridiculously competitive, the two of us.
I would say the winner has to drink a shot, but Candy's drinking water today, so I don't know. No.
She told me that was water.
Right? Okay. First question is, what dish are you bringing to the cookout, sis? What's your favorite dish to bring that you either cook or that you love to eat? With no judgment here.
That's easy because I don't cook that many things. So mac and cheese. And mine is better than any of yours, which is why I cook it. Because seriously,
absolutely,
I want to have a cook-off with some mac and cheese. Some mac and cheese. I mean, I'm
we can have a mac and cheese.
And I had Pat Curry's mac and cheese, and it is banging.
Curry's mac and cheese.
Because it's better than everyone else's. So
I don't cook either, but I used to love baking, and so I make a really good pineapple upside down cake.
I'll let you know.
Okay, so we got two dishes.
Yeah, whole meal right there.
Yeah, that I do baking, so I can do sweet things well. If you let me cook a salty meal, it'll be too salty for you.
I like the salty and the savory.
Yeah.
Right. Me too. Okay. I'm a salty favorite. Nick is a sweet person, though. So I got you.
I got you, Nick.
I need that pineapple upside down candy.
I do all of the above. I will take one of everything. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. And then, okay, so you know that us on the SIP here, we have our BAN and we have our what you not gonna do phrase. But we wanted to know, like, what's your favorite sister girl ratchet phrase? Like, oh hell no, or whatever y'all say that, like,
I gotta think of one that's sanitized enough I can say
on the show.
Don't worry about that.
No, right.
I know you didn't just XYZ.
Okay,
I know you didn't just.
Yes.
I love that.
I can think of one that says, like, sanitized enough I can say it.
Right.
Babe, I thought you were gonna say first of all.
Yes, I do. My child is an adult now. He watches things.
He's an adult keyword.
Wait, Candy, Carrie, you said her phrase is first of all.
I thought Candy was gonna say first of all, because she be saying that a lot.
That's
even with her council colleagues.
First of all, is the work way for me to say, I know you didn't just.
Right. That's the sanitized version.
First of all,
you know what? I'm gonna sanitize it this way. Given the quarantine era and like how much more we're on Zoom and like email and everything, it's me starting with as per my last email.
Right.
Girl. And if I say as per my last, I'm saying I already told you.
I said this already.
Again.
Right. Get your life together, honey. Get your entire life. Yes. You know what? I mean, and can we talk about how many Zoom calls could be held over email? But that's a whole nother conversation.
And how many emails could have been, and how many texts didn't need to happen at all.
Yes.
Yes. Right. We need a SIP party so we can just hang out with y'all and get drunk.
Right.
Okay. Next question is, going on vacation with the girls. Where you going? Where y'all going?
Cuba.
Yes,
Cuba. That was mine.
Yeah.
Well, so
side note, whether or not anybody in this room actually voted for the incoming president, but still, I think we might get an executive order that makes it that we can go to Cuba again.
Please. I went when it wasn't legal anyways. I went through Mexico.
Well, don't be telling
El Salvador.
Check me, boo.
I can do that.
Actually, no, like I seriously, like, in whatever days I have left, because I'm halfway through life, like I only want to go to places that are primarily Black or brown.
Word.
Preferably Black and brown. My last abroad trip was to Tanzania, to Zanzibar. Yeah, so any place that we're going, it's going to be somewhere where the people look like me.
And there's a beach.
Yeah.
And there's a beach.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you can take one thing with you when you die. What you taking?
Oh, I'm a little embarrassed to tell you guys.
When I die?
Yes.
Yeah, you go first because I'm embarrassed.
What I'm gonna take when I die? My phone.
Yeah, you can't take the phone with your child. No,
You can't take that. I want to be, so don't judge me.
I'm judging
But
you.
I have a blanket that I have had since I was born, and I like.
Oh, that's
Aww.
I love that.
And it's like a stress reliever for me, and like the most like comfort I've ever had in my whole life. And so I have told people, everybody who knows me knows that I must be buried with this.
Oh,
I'll probably take a bit of Legos, which isn't nearly as like
Legos.
Lego pieces, which is not nearly as like emotional as hers.
This is not even emotional. This is just ratchet already. Like, it is not acceptable for someone my age to have a blanket.
I think it's fine.
Whatever.
It's
I'm
like
very
those balls.
sentimental
It's
about
like
stuff
those
like
like
that.
squishy balls that like people would like squeeze. Like I
Right.
have to do it. Like
Stress
sometimes
balls.
I used to take this in my backpack to school and stick my hand in my backpack to be able to do it, to like relieve my
Lila's
stress.
like that.
Now, my
No, I
blanket
understand.
night night
Lila is like that.
in my house of me with night night.
I love it.
Mhm.
And I have night night like to sew into my formal wedding gown. But anyway, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I wish somebody would try to say something to you about your blanket. I swear I'll fight over it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll take that blanket with me to city council.
I know,
whatever.
right?
Like, fuck all that.
Thank you,
But
baby.
can
That's why I love you.
Okay, get a baby,
Aw.
y'all.
Aw.
I'm coming.
Say, how is your blanket still intact? Because Lila is 8 and will be 9 in January.
Mo,
her
I learned
blanket
how
is
to
fixed.
sew in order to maintain that is how and why I learned to sew,
You
because
got
my
domestic skills.
yes, my family refused. My family used to actually try and hide it from me, throw it away, and like when my mom would wash it, it would fall apart. Like this piece would fall off,
I gotta
Mhm.
shake
and they wouldn't fix it. They wouldn't fix it. So at like I think I was like 7 or 8 years old, I had my great grandma. I watched my great grandma sew something so that I could prepare my own blanket. So
Oh,
they
you
had
grew
no
up near it.
excuse to take it from me.
Okay.
of all trades.
Because I need help with Lila's. It's the holy kind that she puts
Listen,
up in
leave
her-
my boo alone with her blanket.
Let her have
I
it.
love that
Let her
she
have
I
it.
love that she has it. Like, I think that she's going to be a grown adult, because when I go in there at night, she still sleeps with it and she rubs it on her cheek.
I do
And
too.
I love it. It's her comfort. I love that she has that.
Mhm.
I do too. Don't take it away from her. We deserve
Never. I love that she has
Candy's
her
like, I
little-
need my whoopee.
Right.
Okay, you can have that in your grave.
Thank you.
Right, right. Oh, I love what Steffi said about the phone. Steffi said the phone has the secrets, Elizabeth. So, you know, she was like,
I
I
gotta
understand
feel
why
where
you want to.
because I'm looking out for y'all.
Right?
She's gonna help you.
Burn my journals. Burn my journals.
Right. What are your favorite top 2 albums?
Ooh. To be a top two, did you say 2?
Top 2.
To be a
Definitely
top-
Beyonce.
Which
The last one. The newest one. That is like one of my number ones. And then Selena, of course. Selena's Amor Prohibido.
There you
Actually, I'm
go.
looking up at a Selena candle right now.
Yes.
Y'all can't see it, but like right in front of me.
It's like a worship candle. I have one of Selena.
Girl,
So
okay.
I think to be a top 2 album, it's got to be an album that by definition you play straight through, you don't skip.
Right.
Right.
I would say 1 has got to be Aretha Franklin live at the Fillmore West.
Come on now.
That like there's no skips.
Yes.
No skips.
Yes.
What's messed up is the second album I thought of isn't even my favorite now, but like at the time, shit was pivotal.
Yes.
What?
Let me try to think of a replacement.
No, tell me.
No,
It's rapid fire.
Grace
It's
on
rapid
this.
fire.
I want y'all to give me some grace on this because when it dropped, she clearly wrote this album for me. I don't know what the rest of y'all was doing, but she wrote this album for me.
Lauryn Hill.
Who was it?
Education of Lauryn Hill.
Oh,
Yes. That's a dope album.
Yo,
Okay,
unsure of what the balance
That's a
held. I
dope
touched my
album.
belly overwhelmed. Like that was
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't need a replacement.
yes.
You don't need a replacement. You play that shit all the way through.
That makes perfect
Alright.
sense.
All the way
and
through.
Lauren-
Miseducation, although with some time and some distance, is not the most perfect musically.
I do love that one, and the MTV Unplugged one that she did. That is classic.
I know Mo and Raj don't like that one, but I do too.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, Lauren had that lyric. Lauren said, think of your career, they said. Lauren, baby, use your head. And for me, here I was, teenage and pregnant. It was, think of your career, they said. Bethy, baby, use your head. But instead, I chose to use my heart.
Chose to use my heart.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Aretha Lauren.
And listen, I wasn't shade. Listen, it's not about the MTV album. It's not that I didn't like the album, okay? Because I love me some Lauryn Hill. I'm just saying that there could have been just a little bit more preparation in that live concert. Just a little bit more.
Whatever.
You know, she don't prepare. She don't prepare. That's not.
She's trash.
Like she don't believe in that. Yeah. She don't.
She doesn't.
She said
she probably got trauma for serving time because of tax issues. Like this.
And actually, my real favorite album of all time, which I'll tell y'all offline, I can't say because it turned out we found out he was a terrible man who was terrible to women, but we didn't know that at the time. But
which one?
Oh shit.
Okay. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I swear, Black is King is probably like the most empowering.
Even without the visuals, though.
Even without the visuals, I that is my alarm clock, girl. Like that is I literally have it as my alarm clock because I just feel like the message. One with the visuals, I have never seen anything more empowering for Black and brown people. Like never once, ever have I seen anything that empowering. But number two, like that message is just so spiritual to me. I had a legitimate spiritual experience watching that and listening to it, and it gets me up every day because it's kind of like it's the message in my head. It feels ancestral. Like she is bringing something to me that is timeless and that is, you know, purpose driven. Like we will never have another.
We won't. I agree.
Yeah, we will never have another.
There will never be another Beyonce. There will be something different, but there will never be another Beyonce. I can
raise your hand if you ever got arrested on Beyonce's birthday.
Wait a minute now. She said what?
Wow.
I mean, you know, if there's a way to go out, then I would say, you know, to do it on Beyonce's birthday ain't seem shabby.
That's another fire.
Oh man. So thank y'all. I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here. Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you for, you know, even being introverts. I know it's your Friday night. I know you about to kick into the weekend. I know y'all still gonna work anyway.
Baseball to the bed.
Right. Yeah. No, I thank you so much for being here. We honor you as our sisters in power this week. So big shout out to Candi and Elisabeth, y'all. All right, family. So we will see you guys not next week because next week we got, you know, a holiday going on. Remember to, you know, honor the land that you're on. Remember to buy black on Friday. And remember to come back the following week for the SIP podcast. 5 p.m. same time, same place. We love you guys. And if you have not signed up already for Patreon, please make sure you sign up on our new Patreon page. It's patreon.com/the SIP podcast. You can also follow us on the SIP_podcast on Instagram. Go to our website, thesippodcast.com. All the things the SIP podcast, okay?
All the things.
We in the house. All right. Love and peace, family.
Thank y'all so much. And have a beautiful Thanksgiving next week. Eat all the food. Enjoy all the company. Get your entire life.
Yeah.
We will see y'all in the next episode in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Happiness, y'all.